Hello, welcome to High Vibe Planet, where we discuss planetary evolution and the symbiotic relationship between Earth and humans. My name is Jennifer, and in this video titled Turning Mayhem into Miracles, I'll be addressing the Gemini full moon drawn up for December 4th, 2025 at 6:14 p.m. Eastern Time. At 13 degrees, this full moon forms a grand cross with the nodes of the moon. We'll take a look at this chart and then move into how this is impacting the United States Sibley chart. For those who may not be familiar, my approach to everything, including astrology, is based upon the relationship between the microcosm and macrocosm. I read the chart drawn up from my location as I'm tuning into the collective energies. In this case, Cancer rising makes the moon this chart's ruler. And since it is the focus of this discussion, its position is important. We can see that it's in the 12th house, having to do with wrapping up old cycles, and because it's intercepted, this process is one of invention and instinct, having to respond and adjust every moment as the energy flows. And it feels to me like this full moon is keeping a secret about our collective soul cycle. It definitely comes across as a pressure cooker of information that's poised to erupt at any moment. With any full moon, we're given the opportunity to bring a cycle to its conclusion. And this one feels a lot like a story from our past that has kept us in limbo, much like being in a chrysalis frozen in time, rather than allowing our forward evolution. The irony is that mutable signs seem to always be on the move, but it is possible at the same time to be constantly on the move in the 3D world and never actually evolve. Gemini rules commerce, travel, education, and media, and the opportunity definitely feels like whatever truth this moon is holding on to is like a sacred key that'll open the floodgates of freedom once it's made public. As the saying goes, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. We have a significant 12th, 6th house, and Pisces Virgo theme taking place at this time, and it's about our spiritual and physical well-being. We're learning to assimilate our spiritual gifts and feel into the unseen realm that's held within our physical bodies. Our bodies truly are temples that hold sacred information and energy. And we are learning to trust those visceral sensations that communicate to us by way of intuition and the gut. The body never lies, and any symptom, tension, or pain we experience is usually just the messenger, the tip of the iceberg that's visible. Often there are deeper issues we can't see that require our attention before we can truly and fully heal. So as we look at this chart's synastry with the USA, we can see a profound impact taking place. This full moon is conjunct the relationship axis and is triggering by this mutable cross the home and public axis as well. This is symbolic of a pressure cooker ready to explode. And just like those symptoms I referred to, we are witnessing the mayhem, the chaos, the thrashing about in the collective by those who resist this change. But the Pisces North Node, along with co-rulers Jupiter and Neptune, act as cheerleaders, encouraging us to stay focused on the new golden era that's already begun. There's a Mars opposition in the signs of Gemini and Sag along the relationship axis, and this emphasizes the division in perspective between old and new, us and them. But Mars moves quickly, and this drama won't last. It is part of the big picture unfolding, and it's interesting to me that the dispositors for Gemini and Sagittarius, Mercury and Jupiter, are conjunct each other, both retrograde, which is having us revisit themes from our collective past that must be healed. In Gemini and Sagittarius, it has to do with information, stories, perspectives, and narratives. Mars is about the ego's identity. So we are learning to release those outworn stories we've created or adopted about ourselves without question, so that we can give them further scrutiny. And both of these planets, Jupiter retrograde at this time, conjunct the USA's Mercury retrograde, sit in the 8th house. So this placement of Mercury and Jupiter is occurring and stirring up energy where our instincts kick in, and almost by compulsion we have to dive deeper to look beyond the surface of superficial reality. It's like pulling back the curtain to discover the real Oz, pulling levers and creating a virtual reality rather than actual truth. There's a double whammy between the Moon and Mars, one forming a conjunction and one forming an opposition. So this is greater pressure on our emotions, particularly anger in its connection to Mars, that may be impulsively expressed, causing those potential outbursts if we're not fully in touch with our feelings and managing them well, managing them consciously. There's also a double whammy between the mutable sign interceptions in both charts. In the United States chart, this interception involves the signs Pisces and Virgo, and in the full moon chart, as I said, the interception involves the Gemini-Sagittarius axis. But what this means is that all mutable signs are having to cultivate a brand new way of dealing with the emotions and energy because there is no previous roadmap or experience to fall back on. We're all being called upon to create a new course of action or way of being in the world, even as we revisit previous stories and themes in our lives. This charting new territory is very Sedna-like, and Sedna figures prominently in this synastry. In the United States chart, it's at 15 degrees of Pisces, conjunct the current North Node, and being squeezed by the other three legs of this mutable cross. As we place the USA chart over this Gemini full moon, Sedna sits on the midheaven, so her energies are felt collectively and playing out in the public arena at this time. With Sedna, we have a theme of returning to the scene of the crime, but with entirely new results. It's about second chances, resurrecting our most authentic divine nature, and restoring harmony to all sentient life, imbued by the one source of all. Part of her story, too, involves the revelations and confessions of those who have transgressed against this life. And at this Gemini full moon time, referring to the energy of story, information, communication, and narrative, the media does have a lot to answer for with regard to spinning these stories that have diminished and undermined life. The ultimate healing objective with Sedna is divine reciprocity, because as we recognize our own divine nature, we are able then to respect other unique forms of sentient life as much as we do our own. All in all, this grand cross is indicative of the crossroads humanity is navigating, and with the energies of distant planets such as Neptune and Sedna figuring prominently, we are navigating multidimensional timelines and potential outcomes to accommodate each individual's personal soul growth needs. Some will choose to stay put and continue their lessons in their current experience. Others will choose to allow these changes to transform their lives completely and irrevocably for the better. But this home we call Earth is also a sentient being. And ready or not, she is ascending and reaching for those higher dimensions where peace and divine reciprocity are the new order of the day. So that's all the astrology I have for you. Please stay tuned for the planetary frequencies intended to support your next level of integration and healing. And I look forward to being with you next time. Bye for now.